The meeting to order and then hand the gavel over to him.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't have to be the real gavel.
Okay.
We gotta vote on who does it, right?
I think Dick can just see
You
that.
can send me home if you wanna, I'm normally there.
You got the ears in, Dick, that's for sure.
Well, we
By
got.
law, it's the
meeting order
senior
to
trustee, which is,
salute the flag.
Well, I guess we done it wrong once before then.
I wouldn't rule it out.
No, we didn't do it wrong here, did we?
We voted on who was gonna be in there.
Joe had his surgery and everything went well, but he isn't supposed to be out.
Yep. Good.
Hey, man.
And back,
You guys gotta take care of yourself. You all do.
Nobody else cares.
Well, they care, but you gotta be your own patient advocate.
I made the mistake of finally being responsible in my life, and the satellite dish went out this weekend. I looked up, the roof was icy, and I said, I'm too old for this.
yeah,
Oh, good
So I
thinking.
called them up, had them come out, and they messed it up yesterday. Bad.
Mine was on Saturday and Sunday, the cable.
Oh, yeah?
What was, it was just out there.
ice,
Oh, the ice.
No, they had a outage here.
yeah.
He finally come today to look it over. And he said they just reported the outage. He just got it on his thing that it happened 4 o'clock Saturday. And they just got the news that it was out. And they had, I don't know how many people in Peck that they had to go see,
Yeah,
Ooh.
that they canceled out because their TV finally came back on because somebody found the outage.
Time for the meeting.
It's time to me.
There you go.
Well, we'll have our, let's stand and say the pledge of allegiance to the flag. And I'll turn the meeting over to Brian.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and just in case that wasn't heard, Dick called the meeting and then said he was gonna hand it over to Mr. Boomer.
Joe couldn't make it tonight.
No.
Roll call?
Mr. Zimmerman,
Here.
Mr. Sarver,
Here.
Mr. Anderson,
present.
Mr. Boomer,
Here.
and Supervisor Musso is absent, and I'm here.
Almost everybody's here. Okay, we need to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting of December 17th. Everybody a chance to read them?
I move we approve.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? No discussion? Let's vote on it. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, we're gonna move to public comment now. I got Scott Hamilton.
In December 2014, I was made aware that without board approval, Supervisor Musso signed a quitclaim deed giving away township, supposedly because the township had property that the village wanted for a cell tower. My investigation shows that the legal description was that for the township garage property, and nothing where the cell towers were. I alerted our free attorney, Rodney Kimes, of the situation. Because of the seriousness of the issue, a special meeting was called December 30th, 2014. At the meeting, I explained the quitclaim deed needed to be destroyed and not recorded. Everybody claimed to understand and agree with me. On January 20th, 2015, at a regular board meeting, Trustee Jim Dunn asked for a follow-up, and Attorney Kimes explained and clarified the issue to his satisfaction. Fast forward to 2 weeks ago, while doing a FOIA request, I came across a quitclaim deed that was supposed to have been destroyed and was shocked to find that it had been recorded January 12, 2015, 8 days before Rodney Kime assured the board it had been resolved. The village of Pecatonica owns our garage and the property that it sits on. The village owns your property right now. The township's at the mercy of the village. Hopefully, you can convince the village to rewrite the duplicate of the 1978 resolution that deeded the property to the township. Right now, the fact that Joe Musa gave away the township garage without board approval is just one of his problems. He has needlessly spent thousands of dollars on resolutions and ordinances. One resolution gives Musa $1,000 payback in violation of township code, was passed with the help of trustees Zimmerman and Boomer. And we have yet to hear about the details of the mysterious investigation. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure Joe Musa is in his last term. Jennifer, I formally request a copy of the signed resolution that gives Musa the $1,000 payback.
Okay.
That would be the same resolution Attorney John M. Nelson previously used to hammer, as a hammer over the board's head, saying if it was not passed, he would have to represent Musa in suing the board. What do you call being threatened if you don't pay up? Does anybody know that answer?
Extortion.
It's called extortion. Thank
Yes,
you.
it is.
Thanks, John.
Next is Joanne Chambers.
So the township garage property doesn't belong to the township?
Correct.
That
Not
means
at
Road
this-
Inc. can visit that property.
It was at one, it was
Hey,
deeded,
all right.
We should
Pull
be.
this guy out of our.
it was deeded to us as a, to use as long as we wanted it.
Gentlemen, we're in the public speaking.
Excuse me, I'm
portion
sorry.
right now.
Here's the original deed and the quitclaim deed.
Joanne, go ahead.
Last month, after public comment, Mr. Musso complained that he was criticized for being a veteran. Mr. Musso did not understand the comment. He was not criticized for being a veteran. He was criticized for his behavior, which is unbecoming of a veteran. He was criticized for acting in such an un-American way for not only once, but twice, banning someone from this public meeting. He figuratively wraps himself in the flag, but wants to suppress those with whom he disagrees. This is not what our flag and this country stand for. As a veteran myself, I would like to express the same disappointment with Trustee Zimmerman, also a veteran, and Trustee Boomer for going along with Mr. Musso and voting for both of those resolutions to ban. Last month, when repeatedly asked who was under investigation, Mr. Musso finally replied to Trustee Anderson, and I quote, "You're sitting right next to him and you, how's that?" Unquote. Trustee Sarver was the one sitting next to Trustee Anderson, so now we know that in October 2018, when Mr. Musso said Pecatonica Township was under investigation, it was actually an investigation of Trustees Sarver and Anderson. This may explain why there was never any interest shown by Trustees Boomer and Zimmerman in uncovering the truth. Maybe they had been assured that the investigation did not include them or involve them. Hopefully, Trustees Sarver and Anderson will demand full disclosure as to why they were being investigated and what the investigation uncovered. We aren't living in communist China here, and secret and undisclosed investigations are not what we should expect, especially from those who are sworn to uphold our Constitution. Hopefully, the community will support Trustees Sarver and Anderson in their attempt to clear their names of secret accusations and secret investigations. It is time for Mr. Musso to come clean and publicly state what was going on with this entire fiasco. And finally, there is no requirement to have a substitute attorney at these meetings. In November, Attorney Phillips was asked a question to which he replied. He could not answer that, and you would have to ask Nelson. You pay for a sub who can't answer your questions, and then you pay by the hour to ask Nelson the same questions. So you are paying double attorney fees. Stop bringing in a sub attorney, better yet, any attorney at all. And for the last thing, I was going to ask that after public comment tonight, Supervisor Musso read the minutes that were just voted on. It's been asked before for them to be read in previous meetings, and no one has done so yet. This would eliminate copies and too many FOIAs, as is often complained about. Thank you.
Thanks, Jordan.
Next, we have John Kraft.
Well, thank you. Musso should be embarrassed to call himself a veteran. He doesn't act like one. May 16, 2017, he illegally limited public comment to 2 minutes and lied to the Attorney General about it. The AG said you violated the Open Meetings Act. June 20, 2017. The AG said you violated the Open Meetings Act again by prohibiting speech you didn't like, and I'm talking as if Musso was standing there. December 19, 2017, the AG said you violated the OMA and that the 15-minute sign-up rule would unreasonably restricted public comment. January 22, 2019, the AG said you violated the Open Meetings Act again by prohibiting public comment from a person that signed up 13 minutes in advance, again stating that 15-minute rule unreasonably restricted public comments. How many times is it going to take for the Attorney General to rule against the township, and they're going to do it again, from the last time he prohibited comment? How many times is it going to take to comply with the law? There have been 3 arrests of people for attending your township board meetings. That should be shocking. What's not shocking is the court threw out the first 2, and they're going to throw out this one. I'll bet a $100 donation on it. Anybody willing to take me up on it? Now, you illegally ban Miss Hamilton for 6 months and 10 days. That conveniently takes it past the next township elector annual meeting, the annual meeting of the electors. And it violates her right to vote. If you were a veteran, would you want to violate somebody's right to vote? No, you shouldn't. And it should be shocking that a veteran voted to do that and had the stinking attorney type up the resolution to do that. It's crazy. The 19th Amendment gave women the right to vote on August 18, 1920, 100 years ago, and Supervisor Musso thinks he can take away a woman's right to vote at an annual township meeting. Nobody sees a problem with that? Apparently the 1, 2, 3 people that voted for that ordinance or resolution are happy to take away a woman's right to vote. You should be ashamed, and the 4 of you should rescind that ordinance. Thanks.
Thanks, John.
Next, we have Lee Clark.
Good evening. For the better part of 2 years, I've been attending these meetings. As a taxpayer, former trustee of this board, it's not about making mistakes, but rather fixing them and addressing issues. What's clear to me, though, listening to all these meetings and seeing the actions you've taken, is the unwillingness to fix issues and serve the public how it should be served. Over the years, heard about the county clerk addressing the way you were doing the ballot placement. However, the county clerk did not enforce anything because a formal complaint wasn't filed. Saw the supervisor, heard about the supervisor and saw the paperwork that the supervisor unilaterally, without board approval, served the assessor with an eviction notice. See, you pay bills inappropriately. The lack of decorum by members of this board, which is shameful in addressing not only each other, but the public, including yelling and name-calling. The supervisor and the board attorney stating the township was under investigation, but would not provide at least some of the trustees why. He represents the board. This is the same, and questioning, and the supervisor stating the township would be paying for investigators that he brought to question one trustee, interestingly enough, about the flag fund. This is the same fund the supervisor as an individual received payout by this board of public funds. There's also nothing about investigators pursuant to a FOIA I filed. So it's kind of questionable whether they were actually investigators. The FOIA officer not providing FOIA info to some board members, including AG responses, the Attorney General responses. Continuing refusal by trustees Boomer, trustee Zimmerman, and Supervisor Musso to vote for trustees to obtain and see canceled checks for fiscal responsibility. The board not providing the Attorney General with documents it privately wanted to see. I believe that was in regard to the General Assistance Fund. Flag program, fund mismanagement, not accounting for all checks that were paid or all expenditures that should have been attributed to it. The AG's office finding more than once that you shouldn't require a 15-minute sign-up, but you completely ignore them, even so much as putting it on the agenda at times. prohibiting and banning public from speaking. It is un-American. Continuing discrepancies in bookkeeping. Different foyers people have served have different account balances. That's really interesting. And the more you look at things, the more you see differences and discrepancies. Most recently, in a FOIA I just filed, so I'll be filing another one, stating check number 7265 for the National Flag Store was void. But on a prior accounting for the same date, for the same product, it showed that you paid $296.40, and that was deducted for your account balance. So was it paid or was it void? Yet another discrepancy. So I'll be
That's
serving a
time.
FOIA.
That's time.
What?
Thank you. I said time. That was the time. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
All right, so Supervisor Musso's not here, so we don't have a supervisor's report.
Clerk's report?
I don't have one.
Bruce,
Things are good. No
Good.
major breakdowns.
keeping up with the weather?
Yeah, I hate the ice.
Is that it, Bruce? Trustees?
Yeah. I see we got a bank deposit box. What do we need a deposit box at the bank for? I'd like an answer next month. And then also would like to know what this American fund is. I don't recall it,
Did you say it was American Fund?
yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Hmm?
Yes, you do.
What is it?
That's what the township donates instead of paying me for hospital insurance and stuff, regular
Okay.
insurance. They went with the American fund.
Okay,
American
Been
Fund.
doing it for a long time.
Yeah,
okay.
and I think even when I,
Yeah.
Now, on the FOIA, have we answered that FOIA on the big investigation of Mussos?
Yes,
Do you have a copy of that?
of the,
Results?
Well, the FOIAs, we don't have any documents. I'm sorry, for the investigation, we don't have any documents. There's no documents the township has at all that I can find, that Clerk Mohawk can find, that Colleen can find. So that's basically all the answer was to that.
So this is basically a dream that came up from Musso, and
I don't know what it is, Vern.
there's no validity to it then?
I don't know anything. I can't answer that, Vern, I don't know. But like we talked before, remember, we're gonna set up a time to go through all
Hmm.
that, so. Which, get a hold of me and let me know what you got for that.
Yeah, I wanna see them all, but getting time to do it, that's something else.
Attorney Nelson, you wrote us all a letter that you represent all of us. And I am very concerned about this investigation. I think that you need, as our attorney, I think you need to represent us so we can find out what this investigation was all about. I've called down to Springfield to ask them some questions. They really wanted me to take care of it here at local level. And so Attorney Nelson, as a board member, and you wrote a letter, you're representing the entire board, I would like to know what this investigation was about, if there was any money paid out. I certainly want to know that, so please check into that for me. That's basically what
Okay, thanks, Jim. Trustee Zimmerman? Okay, I don't have anything either. Mr. Nelson?
there's really not much to report. I'm hopeful that the supervisor can be here next meeting. and he recovers sufficiently for a surgery to do so. The, outside of the consternation as expressed in public comment, the township's business is proceeding rather well. And so that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. I don't believe we have any old business to attend to. So, new business. As we all know, the budget's coming up. Supervisor Musso would like input into what everybody wants on the budget.
I would enjoy doing that. I went down to Springfield and they conducted 2 different seminars that I went to on preparing budget and the other one.
Levy?
Levy, yeah, there we go. And they were excellent, and I really would like to have some input into that. Just for instance, that going to from $9,000 to $12,000 to the cemeteries, I firmly believe the cemeteries need help, but it was never brought up, it was never voted on, and all of a sudden here we are spending $12,000 a year instead of $9,000. And we just need to watch what we spend. You all are taxpayers. It's your money, it's your house taxes. Granted, we're a very small part of it, but I think we need to watch and not just go ahead and spend money
Willy-nilly.
like you're Santa Claus.
If I might make a suggestion, everybody look at the last couple of years' budgets,
Yeah,
come up with some ideas of what you think, and get them to Joe and
excuse me.
before the next month's meeting.
Well, where are you gonna get them from?
The budgets.
Yeah.
You don't have a copy of the budgets?
No, he said we had to leave them here and we couldn't take them home, and I certainly don't have a copy.
Well, you should have a copy. I can get you a copy, but you should have a copy.
It'd be in your folder.
I don't think so.
We'll wait till Jim comes back.
Yeah, I got something here. That's not it.
You get him a copy of that.
I can get him a copy of them.
Just for point of clarification, is there a proposed increase in the cemetery line item from 9 to 12? Is that what we're talking about?
No, that was done a couple of years
Yeah.
back.
Oh,
Actually, I believe it went from 9 to 10 to 12.
Well, I suppose what the deal was is the cost of maintaining cemeteries is going up.
well,
Because
but
they
if it
don't
was
give
done,
one more
yeah,
than gasoline away.
if it was done 2 years ago, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a done deal.
The Peck Cemetery, what their note I got was $11,000 for mowing and
Huh?
You got a copy of the budget?
alone.
I suppose it's in there somewhere.
Jim, you all right there?
I'm taking the Lasix.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
It puts you on the run.
we held the peace till you got better.
But Attorney Nelson, if there's a charge to do this, you're representing the entire board, right? You represent me.
We're on the budget right now, Jim.
Oh, okay.
But John's gonna get a copy of the last year's budget for Vernon.
I kept mine.
Okay, so everybody go over that.
It looks like that.
If you,
Come up with
the
anything you
idea
might
is
want.
if you have you want increases or decreases, get them to Joe.
Yep,
And then, we'll
And
get to
it would
next
be
month.
helpful to explain why.
Okay, is that all?
I have heard that several townships
Look, see if I
have
got it.
lowered their, levy, you know, and so lowered their budget. And so, I think that
Oh.
might work very good.
Let's go ahead. Look
Jim,
it over.
I'm not so sure that that's true. Let me say this, because the multiplier is higher, some governmental agencies have not put, raised the amount, or increased their percentage.
Yes,
I made this clear at Rock Valley that when they didn't ask for any increase, they weren't accounting for inflation. And, at the college, we have,
absolutely, I understand
wage
mathematics,
increases
and I understand that sometimes if you don't raise, then down the road, it can hit you. It's happened here before,
Well, this happened to Seward a lot.
yeah. But
This
anyway,
Moldy Township's in bad shape, yeah.
Is that the current copy that you have there? Bert?
Yeah,
Okay, so
Because
Jen doesn't
yours-
need to get you one?
no,
Okay.
We were allowed to increase it 4.9.
yep,
And there was years when we didn't take 4.9. And we didn't get it either. We got what we asked for, but it wasn't what we should have been. Because I've learned on the years I've been on here that if you don't take 4.9, they're gonna give you less.
absolutely, Dick, and when I was supervisor a few years back, I went as high as 11%. And I got that because I did the truth in taxation, and then, the money at that time, the way I understood it, it doesn't come from the taxpayers' home, it comes from other funds, like, I don't know, the trailer tax or whatever, and I was able, through truth in taxation, to get 11%.
Well, we get our money through the county.
But, yes,
So we don't have a lever on it at all.
you do if
we
you
can
do
ask.
truth in taxation, Dick.
Well, yes, you can, if you can prove that you need it. That's right.
Yeah, I
Sometimes that
did,
ain't no easy.
I did it 2 years in a row, and it worked for Pecatonica Township, so.
Okay. Anybody else have anything else on the budget? Otherwise, like I said, review that and I think next month, be prepared. Let's move on then. Treasurer's report, everybody have the opportunity to go through the bills?
Yes, I did. Yep, I signed them.
Okay. Need a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the budget.
Is there a second?
I'll make a motion to pay our bills for this month.
Okay, any discussion?
no, other than I'm gonna vote no because I don't see the canceled checks as usual.
Don't you get a printout?
Nope,
Nothing.
he could get a printout just like I do with the Moldy Township, but he won't do it. So they could be writing checks and we wouldn't know it.
Anybody else have anything about the bills other than the canceled checks? Okay. Let's have a vote. Yeah,
Okay.
roll call.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes,
Mr. Boomer,
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman,
Yes.
Mr. Sarver,
No,
Okay, bills are approved. Any further discussion of township business? Nothing? We need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
no second.
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
are we all in favor?
All
Vern?
Yeah, Vern?
Yeah,
Aye.
he said,
Oh, okay.
he seconded it. He's
No, I
got
know,
me,
but-
Yeah, but it's got a vote though.
oh, that's true. What were you thinking?
I wasn't, I didn't even hear it.
Okay, man,
I was thinking.
stop
We
thinking.
could hear the wheels turning over here.
Next board meeting is February 18th, 2020, same time, same place. Meeting's adjourned.
Or only
Jump.
a hunk of cheese.
No. I did get my, he plowed my driveway. Probably didn't need it, but he did it.
Who did?
Please take some, I've got so
I don't
much.
know, somebody took over.
Please,
The guy that used to.
Attorney Nelson, if you want one.
I told him, you know, not more than 2 inches unless it's blowing.
No, it came
But he gave
from
me
Fair
a